Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
A man with a violent criminal past leads police on a chase through several cities before crashing in a busy area. So how does he end up on the street with no bond? Tonight, police and prosecutors say it is not okay, and now they're looking into the magistrate who made that decision.
Police say there appears to be a pattern here, and they are not happy about it. Let's get to Mara McDonald, who's live near Campus Martius tonight in downtown Detroit, which is where this chase came to an end, Mara.
It sure did, Chase. It started in Wyandotte, went through multiple communities, and ended up right here. As a matter of fact, you can see some of the remnants when he hit this pole just a stone's throw away from Campus Martius. The man behind the wheel of the stolen car, Tobias Catrone, just out of prison with priors for assault with intent to murder, armed robbery, and others.
Getting into the downtown area, we're still northbound.
A Wyandotte police officer on patrol spotted him prowling around a neighborhood last Friday.
The guy didn't even wait for him to activate his lights. He took off.
The chase went through multiple cities, ultimately ending here when Catrone crashed.
On the ground! Get on the ground!
Officers took him into custody, only to see him back out on the street immediately.
He was seen and arraigned in front of Rodney Johnson, Magistrate Rodney Johnson, and he was given a personal bond. So today, he's free. He's out of jail. He's at home watching TV or preparing for his next crime.
This is now the third case Wyandotte has had with Magistrate Johnson in the last 2 months, where convicted felons with serious priors have been allowed to walk. Ronald Mancros busted by police for burglary, a convicted felon, 8 active warrants for arrest, history of violence, out on a $50 bond. Jeffrey Helm from Ohio, busted for felon in possession of a firearm, had an active felony warrant out of Michigan at the time of his arrest, as well as a prior felony conviction, given a $100 bond. It's not just the PD that's unhappy. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office has filed an emergency motion to get Catrone's bond reassessed in front of a new judge and tells us, quote, "We're currently evaluating other bond decisions made by Magistrate Johnson last weekend." Back here live, I reached out to the magistrate's office today and as of yet have not received a call back. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Okay, Mara. A false report of a shooting at West Bloomfield High School tonight briefly caused the stadium to evacuate during a playoff game against Cass Tech. Police say the false report followed a car making a noise in the parking lot. Fortunately, nobody was hurt during that evacuation, and the game did later resume. Kim?
While a motive is still not clear, we do know tonight the man accused of breaking into Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home had often posted online about QAnon and other conspiracy theories. Pelosi's husband suffered severe injuries in the attack that police say was not a random act, but intentional.
A terrifying moment for the Pelosi's early Friday morning. A man breaking into their home in San Francisco, looking for the House Speaker, shouting, "Where is Nancy?"
Special call medic 66, location.
Police arriving as the horrific assault on the Speaker's 82-year-old husband, Paul, unfolded.
Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it.
The House Speaker was not in San Francisco at the time. Paul rushed to an area hospital. The Speaker's office releasing a statement saying Mr. Pelosi underwent a successful surgery to repair a skull fracture and serious injuries to his right arm and hands. His doctors expect a full recovery. Police identified the suspect as 42-year-old David DePape, who posted conspiracy theories on social media. All of this happening just 2 weeks shy of a heated midterm election. Federal authorities warning state and local officials of a heightened threat posed by domestic extremists ahead of Election Day.
The FBI is a major player in this, along with the U.S. Capitol Police, and they're trying to see whether or not there are other people that perhaps when they go to his website, there could be other names.
Meanwhile, an outpouring of support for the Pelosi's from leaders on both sides of the political aisle, some calling for more security.
We're living in a very volatile time. We need to do a better job of security.
Is being held on a slew of charges, included attempted homicide. Parents of the Oxford High School shooter were back in court today as a judge decides which witnesses can testify in their upcoming trial.
Jennifer and James Crumley are charged with involuntary manslaughter after their son Ethan killed 4 students last year. Today, prosecutors put a doctor who studies mass shootings on the witness stand. She said school shootings can and should be prevented.
Mass shooters have a slow build towards violence over time. They don't just snap, and they give off lots of warning signs along that pathway.
Attorneys for the Crumbleys argue the expert's testimony is not relevant. The judge has not made a decision in this yet. This hearing comes just days after Ethan Crumley pleaded guilty to all the charges against him.
All right, well, it has been the most talked about and most contentious issue on the ballot this year. We're talking about Proposal 3, and it would keep abortion legal in Michigan, but there have been lots of concerns and questions about whether it does more than that. Our Grant Herms has been talking with experts to find out exactly what would happen if voters say yes on Prop 3.
Proposition 3 at its core would enshrine access to abortion and reproductive health care into the state's constitution, meaning the laws on the books under Roe v. Wade would stay the same. The proposition would allow the state to regulate abortion after fetal viability, but couldn't place limits if it were medically needed to protect a patient's life or health, including mental health. Finally, it would ban state discrimination and prosecution of a pregnant person who gets an abortion or someone who helps them, like a doctor or someone who gives a ride to a clinic. It would also invalidate state laws that conflict with it, namely the state's 1931 abortion ban. That last part has been the major issue outside of how people feel about abortion and reproductive health morally. So we took those legal questions to experts.
Language matters.
First, Professor Ed Goldman, the director of the U of M Reproductive Justice Program and an expert on the intersection of medicine and the law. We asked if whether a list of laws including consent, parental consent to treat a child, child access to gender therapy, or even infanticide would go away under Prop 3. His answer at every turn was no.
The notion that children will be able to get an abortion on their own without parental notice or consent, I think is incorrect. The basic right a child has is a right to grow up. And so what the state says is you have to go to school, can't drink till a certain age, can't drive till a certain age, and you can't have an abortion without parental notification, consent, or a judicial bypass. Those are laws regulating how children grow up. Those laws are not going to go away.
But despite Goldman's answers and the answers of other medical law experts, there are still concerns. So we asked another expert in the field of reproductive law who also teaches constitutional law, Professor Leah Littman. Her answers were the same.
We are talking about a solution to a problem that just doesn't exist because there isn't a problem with Proposal 3 invalidating the litany of common sense public health measures that are totally consistent with evidence-based science and clinical judgments.
And now is a good time to go look at the Michigan Voter Guide we've got up right now on clickondetroit.com. It's got all the details about Proposition 3, the other two major statewide questions, plus every major race across this state. It's all there for you on clickondetroit.com. In Detroit, Grant Herms, Local 4.
Well, it's always one of the biggest games of the season, and this year the MSU-Michigan game is going to be under the lights at the Big House tomorrow night.
That's right, and Kim, tailgating will be going on pretty much all day tomorrow in Ann Arbor, so how are things looking?
I mean, it's perfect, especially for this late in the year, with temperatures in the upper 50s at 4 o'clock. That's above normal for this time of year. We should hit highs usually around 56, and we will be at 61 tomorrow afternoon. 7 o'clock. Now by 7, the sun is already set. The sun will set about an hour before the game starts. And once that sun goes down, it cools down rapidly. In fact, we'll be in the 40s through most of the game. So even though the tailgating might feel okay, by the time you get in that stadium, it is going to be chilly. Speaking of chilly, it's a little cool out there right now. 39 in Pontiac, 43 in Mount Clemens, also at City Airport, 44 at Metro Airport. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine all day long, whether you're headed to the game or if you're doing yard work, whatever you're doing tomorrow. Good idea to make it outside with a high of 61. We have warmer weather on the way, but also a chance for rain on Halloween. We'll talk about that and the exact timing coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, Kim. And an update to a story we brought you last night. Penn Theater in Plymouth says it has been given the green light to show It's a Wonderful Life this holiday season.
Christmas miracle. It comes after hundreds gathered at the theater last night to save the beloved holiday tradition. At first, Paramount said its licensing wouldn't allow the theater to show the iconic film, something it's done the past 15 years. But following last night's rally, Paramount reached out, allowing the movie to be shown. The first screening scheduled for the first weekend of December, and a lot of people excited to hear that news.
Very nice.
Yeah.